Well, good morning. It is the appointed time for the meeting of the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board for February the 28th, 2019. We will call the meeting to order. Carol, I believe we have a quorum. Do you agree? We have a quorum. You've been furnished with copies of the minutes of the previous meeting on January the 24th. Are there additions or corrections? It's been moved that we approve the minutes and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. Before we move to item 3, just want to mention that item 7 on your agenda has been stricken for today, was not taken up by the subcommittee, and will be put over for a future meeting. So item 3, David, the revenue and expenditure report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packet, you have the MAPS 3 Revenue and Expenditures Report for the period ending January 31st, 2019. On the revenue side for the month, $565,055. Fiscal year, $4,142,649, and total program of $827,979,602. On the expenditures side for the month, $11,993,809, fiscal year of $84,448,247, and total expenditures of $519,103,166. You also have the budget and obligations report for the period ending February 7th. I'll try to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for David? Bob?
The sales tax figure, is that just delayed receipts, or are they just adjustments in the accounting?
It is. There's always some reallocations that the state does because things were put in the wrong column, or somebody turned in their sales tax late or something like that. Okay. Right, and then you'll see that the majority of the revenue for this month is interest.
Other questions? Michael?
I move we accept the report.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the revenue and expenditure report as presented. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The report is received. Item 4, David.
Item 4 is recommend resolution approving change order number 9 and amendment number 5, MAPS 3 Convention Center, increase of $119,578.10, project M3-C003. There are several items on this change order, the most significant being some signage data, cabling for $17,000, but really the big item was some soil revisions and some drilled pier reconciliations on the amendments. Remember that we're still out there doing foundations and doing some groundwork, so there was some soil that needed to be stabilized and dealt with, but that was in the amendment side of the item, so the price was already established, so this is really just reconciling the quantity on that. This comes from the subcommittee with approval.
Are there questions for David? I want to add that the Convention Center Subcommittee did meet on Tuesday, and we did not only consider and approve this, but we got the report, and I'll just say that things seem to be progressing really well. I think our whole subcommittee is really pleased with the progress that's being made. Is there a motion to approve this?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted. The resolution is approved. Item 5, David.
Item 5 is recommend joint resolution approving change order number 6 and amendment number 5, MAPS 3 Upper Park, increase of $412,191.48, project M3-P006, WC-0920. So the park has been under construction for approximately 18 months, and this is only the 6th change order we have. So very happy about that. There was just some items that come up that are common with construction, some drainage issues, concrete slabs. Some of the major items is some backflow preventers that were requested by the city's plumbing inspector near the dog park for the water features. Some filter fabric, item number 7, filter fabric underneath the pavers, which was a design that was common with the Project 180 streetscape. So in those areas that we're doing the 180 streetscape, we're adding that filter fabric. There's some light pole footings and tree areas that needed to be relocated because of boulevard construction. Remember that there's a whole lot going on down there. We've got the boulevard under construction along with the park, so we're trying to coordinate all that together. The biggest item on this change order is the sod revision, $238,842, and this is for buffalo sod. So the sod that we're talking about is pretty much the northeast area of the park, a little over an acre's worth of sod. I'm sorry, 5 acres worth of sod, and it goes up onto the backside of that sloped berm. The plan originally was to seed that with the grass and the wildflower mix and give it time to grow in, but because of the boulevard construction didn't complete in time, we missed that planting season. And in order for this to look like a finished park and not be just dirt and have problems with that seeding, we are asking to do sod in those areas, so when the park opens, it will look like it should have had we been able to hit that planting season. Continuing on, well, that was the last item there. Because of the weather, none of the subcommittees yesterday had quorums, but those that were there recommended this be sent on to this body.
Questions? Been moved that we approve it. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve it. Is there further discussion or any questions for David? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Next item, David.
Item 6 is recommend joint resolution approving change order number 7, Maps 3 Upper Park, increase of $333,357.59. Project M3-P006, WC0920. These are requests from the operator to help make the facilities functional in the respect that they need them to for the programming that they're going to. So the big item here is the stage revisions. The interior layout will be changed, convert the lower green room to a wet room with a shower, and add an upper level green room with HVAC and countertops. So it's really dressing up this area so that we have a nice upscale green room for some of the acts that they anticipate coming in to that venue. And then there was also some relocation for some cabling and penetrations for the data room where the security people will be in Union Station. So same thing with this item. Yesterday there was no quorum, but those present recommended that it come on to this body.
Been moved and seconded that we approve it. I'll add just this item. I was there. There were lots of questions asked by the subcommittee members that were there, and this was thoroughly discussed, and I think all of those that were there really felt like these things need to be done. So with that, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It is approved. Next item, David.
Next item is item 8.
Excuse me, David, just a second. I'm sorry. Councilman, I wanted to tell you we have stricken item 7, so we're skipping over that and going to item 8. Thank you, David.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
We just voted on the funding for change order number 7 is available for the funds of the planning and implementation plan.
It's project contingency.
So it's the funds that are already in.
Already in the park. Yes, sir. There's over $3.3 million still in contingency, and that's part of my point is we've had very few change orders on the park so far, so we're in really good shape.
Make sure we weren't allocating excess funds on this.
No, sir.
No excess funds. That's right. All right, item 8, David.
Item 8 is recommend resolution approving change order number 2, Maps 3, Lower Park Demolition Package 2, a decrease of $2,500 and accepting project M3-P014A. This is the demolition project for the lower park. If you've been down there, you've seen that the buildings have been removed and it's been sodded and it looks really nice. There was a billboard structure in the area that we're still going through some legal issues with, so we got a credit for removing that billboard of $2,500, but this is to accept that project as complete.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution in item number 8. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 9, David.
Item 9 is recommend resolution approving amendment number 9, contract for purchase of MAPS 3 modern streetcars, no increase, project M3-S005. So if you remember, we have a contract with Brookville Equipment for the streetcars themselves. That contract was due to expire in May, and what we're doing is just extending that time period so that in the future, if there's an expansion of the streetcar system with, say, a MAPS 4 or something like that, we still have the ability to use this contract to buy more cars. So it is not buying more cars, it's not spending any money, it's just extending the duration of this contract for an additional 2 years to keep it active.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Further discussion?
I have, David, so this, would we be buying the cars at this same price we bought the original one?
No, there will have to be some renegotiation. So there's an escalation clause in there after the 13-month of about 2.5%, I think it was. Discussions with the vendor that we will have to renegotiate that at that time, but this at least keeps this contract in place so we can
So
do
we
that.
wouldn't have to go out and rebid or redesign?
That's right. And possibly get some cars that don't match what we have right now.
Okay.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 10, David.
Item 10 is recommend resolution approving change order number 20 and amendment number 19, MAPS 3 modern streetcar main line, a decrease of $9,071.20, project M3-S007. So we believe this will be the last change order and amendment for the streetcar. There was some electrical power reimbursement to the contractor, so during that transition, whenever we took over the system and started running it, it was difficult to get the meter switched over at the exact time. So there were some costs that the contractor incurred on the meter that we're reimbursing him for. And then there was also a credit for this survey. The specification said that after the project is complete, that the contractor would go in and do a complete survey independent of everything. Well, they actually did the survey as they built it. So we have the information. So the spirit of the spec was met, and they're giving us a credit for not having to do a second survey independent of that. And then there's also some streetlight luminaire quantity reconciliations, credit of $11,900.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is approved. Item 11, David.
Item 11 is recommend a resolution approving the allocation of $3,050,000 from excess collections and/or interest from the Oklahoma City Capital Improvement Sales Tax Fund for the MAPS 3 Transit Modern Streetcar Project, project M3-S007. So this goes back to the discussion that we had last month, well, actually the last 3 months, of coming up with the plan for excess allocations. And as you remember, we had $4 million laid out for streetcar additions and needs. So I've given, I don't know if Councilwoman got one of these, I've given you lists of the items that make up this request. And I know that this body asked that projects come in individually, but these are not projects that will be bid. These are projects that will be either on city contract or sole source contracts because of the nature of them. There's not a whole lot of people that do wheel truing machines. And the spare parts have to come from the manufacturer of the streetcar, same with the batteries. So that's why it's coming in this form. So what we're asking for is the $3,050,000 to cover wheel truing machine and the installation that will keep the Embark people from having to ship their wheels down to Dallas and work out a deal with them. There's additional spare parts. I think we all realize that you can never have enough spare parts when you've got 7 of these large machines running around town. Some additional ticket vending machines. I believe one of Embark's plans is to maybe put these near some parking garages, but also have a spare in case some of them go down. Spare batteries have always been a concern, so that's in this. Spare catenary poles, to have those on hand in case they're hit by cars. There's an additional service vehicle. But the largest item on here is the item that we've talked about quite a bit, and especially last month, is traffic signal prioritization. I'll tell you that 5 intersections were already completed through Public Works, as we discussed last month. This is to reimburse them for that cost because that came out of their CIP funds. They're working on three more that we will work with them on funding. But we will continue our path by doing these piece by piece and seeing how much they impact the system, and not just taking that $800,000 and going and doing it all. So we will do these until we get to the point where we had always hoped to be on head times and complete loop times, and whatever money's left over will come back to this body, and I'll tell you, we still have this much money, and here's what we're going to use it for. So this is spelled out as how we want to use that. I've talked a whole lot.
Mike? Oh, Nathaniel, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, I was going to say, so last month we were talking about $450,000. I guess your estimate's gone up.
It did. It did, and there's a little bit of fluff in here, not knowing some of the extra equipment, but that was one of the concerns that we had, is that number was really an estimate. Now we've gotten actual quotes from the vendors, and we know how much 5 signals cost. I extrapolated that on up to do 21 and bumped it a little bit.
We didn't have quorum yesterday, just like everybody else, with the weather yesterday. But this I think David described it pretty well as far as what these items are. No new items than what we've covered over the past several months. But certainly, the feedback resolutely has been signal prioritization. That's been the feedback for the streetcar is to achieve the planned travel time. Not trying to break records, but just trying to achieve what was originally laid out. And so I think David's done a really good job of stewarding that process to say, how can we make sure that prioritization is effective or is measurable? And so I don't know if you saw the article recently, but already shaved the travel time from 52 to 45 minutes with that initial investment. So this is real impactful, methodical, measured investment that to make sure the system runs according to plan.
So, David, are these funds that these are new funds that is requesting from the surplus?
That's
I'm
right.
asking.
That's correct.
So I'm just confused because I thought in that spreadsheet that we had that we looked at all those projects and we saw how much money was going to be left. So this would, and whatever that magic number was, whether or not we include about $20 million from the contingency from the convention center or not, this would whittle that number down by this $3 million so dollars. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, and it's taken $3 million of the $4 million that were on that sheet that was approved as a plan.
So that's what I'm saying. So this is just really a breakdown of those dollars.
That's right.
Is that correct? When we didn't pass, as I recall last month, the request for the signal prioritization, what was that dollar amount?
Well, it was requested $450,000, and that's one of the reasons why we were uneasy about approving that, is because we really weren't sure about the number, but also just the whole method. We've always been for signal prioritization, but a better method of going about it rather than just doing it all and hoping that it works.
So the intent all along was as Public Works used their money, as we incrementally did this, the intent was to reimburse from MAPS Public Works. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, and that was really just to expedite that process that Public Works took over. Of course, they're in charge of the signals. It's their signals, so it only made sense for them to be working on it.
No, I just was looking for a clarification. All right, thank you.
So I have another question, I guess. Spare batteries, $1 million. How many batteries? How expensive are these batteries?
They are very expensive, but this would give you a whole set for one car.
So that's just one car's worth of batteries?
That's right.
I assume we already have some spare batteries.
No,
There's none at all?
not that I'm aware of. Does my staff know if we have any? Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess the other question, so the other $1 million that we had in our implementation plan for the excess funds is still out there available for this subcommittee, and we anticipate they'll come back with some other need.
I do anticipate that. It might even be next month. These are the numbers that we were able to get together and things that are really needed right now. Some of these have very long lead times. The spare poles are more than 6 months out to get those, and the batteries are very long lead times also.
Okay. So we're not whittling that implementation plan down from 4 million to 3 million. It's still...
No, sir, this is just the first chunk of that, and mostly because this body, the way I understood it, wanted individual projects brought and not just ask for 4 million and it be dealt with.
Appreciate it. I just wanted to clarify. Thanks.
Yeah, but I left last meeting, Michael, thinking that we had approved a preliminary allocation plan, but we still wanted the right to look at them on each particular project as they brought them back to us and examine each one individually. And I think this is consistent with what we had asked them to do.
I agree. I just didn't know if they were saying, well, we only came up with 3 million, and so that's all
Sure.
our ask is now. The ask is still out there for the 4 million.
Yes.
We'll see some more stuff later.
And I'm really glad we have the information now about the success of the 5 that we used. So I'm feeling really good about this. All right. Further discussion? Have we had a motion yet?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The item is approved. David?
Item 12 is recommend resolution approving change order number 2 and amendment number 3, Maps 3, Phase 3, Project 1, Trail Improvements, Lake Draper Trail, increase of $52,321, Project M3-T003. Routine construction items with the exception of the Maps 3 logo. If you recall, we found it a really nice touch to add on to the trail, this Maps 3 logo, so that the citizens would understand that the trail was funded through MAPS. We did that on the I-44 trail. This project was bid before we did that, so we're adding this on this project also. And then there's quantity adjustments for various quantities. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer those, but it's all routine stuff that you find when you're out building trails.
David, are we going to go back out and put the Maps 3 logos on the river trail?
That's something we should probably look at.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to
I do too.
do that.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution included in item 12. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 13, David?
Recommend resolution approving change order number 2 and amendment number 2, Maps 3, Phase 3, Project 2, Trail Improvements, Lake Draper Trail, increase of $160,797.77. Project M3-T003A. Remember that the Draper Trail is broken into 3 projects. This is the second one of those 3. Very similar. There was a lot of drainage items that were added to this project to try and reduce some of the water that was coming across the trail, and then some grading and drainage revisions within the amendment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we had approved the resolution. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Item 14 is new business. Any member of the advisory board have new business to bring forward? David?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have item 15 then is the MAP 3 subcommittee reports. David, you may be going to cover this in your report, but at some point, would you brief us on the presentation that was made to the Park Subcommittee yesterday about work on the Union Station?
Okay.
Are you going to include that in your? You can. Okay, good. All right. Any other subcommittee report? All right then. In item 16, we have 2 informational items. Any of those things you want to highlight, David?
We put these on here because these were done through city contract, the vehicle purchases. And then there was also an issue out at the Will Rogers Trail. So in case you're asked, at some of those dead-end streets right around 46th, 47th, 48th, I believe, are the streets on the I-44 trail, there were so many trees dropping leaves, they were clogging up the drains, and there was some drainage issues. So we're changing out some grates through city contract to try and make sure that those leaves pass and don't clog up the drains anymore. That's it.
Any questions about the informational item? All right then. David, program update?
And just real quick, we're working on the additional projects at the river, working on the filtration and the capacitors to try and reduce the electrical costs out there at the river. As far as senior wellness, I think you all know Wellness Center 1 is open and operating very well, 2 is open and operating, 3 is still in the design process, and Wellness Center 4 is choosing an architect and also interviewing operators for that wellness center. We talked about trails and sidewalks this month. The last bit of sidewalks are kind of wrapping up, and then Draper Trail is well under construction with our intent on opening that early this summer. Convention Center construction is going really well. If you've been down in that area, you've seen all the steel that's up in the air. They've got some trusses that are 20 feet deep. They've got some plate girders that are almost 10 feet deep. There's just some really, really impressive things out there watching that go up. Fairgrounds, we've got some new projects in design for enhancements out there. And then the park, the construction is ongoing. We saw that on the change order. If you've been by there, you can see that it's really starting to look like a park, especially on that north end. What Mr. McDaniel was referring to is we received a presentation for the study for Union Station that Public Works is doing for the use of that facility. Remember that we have in our plan set up $10 million for renovations and improvements out there right now. I think you'll find that you could spend as much as you want to spend in that facility, making it as good as you want it to make. But it was good information that we received yesterday, and it's still ongoing. Then I think we've all talked about the streetcar enough today. Streetcar's running. Everything's going pretty good. That's my report.
Yeah, I'll just add, there was some really presentation about improvements at Union Station. Looked really exciting. We didn't see any costs, so no money to talk about, but the improvements, kind of the general dream about it, seems to be really, really good. So we'll learn more about it in the days ahead, and at some point, I suppose, we'll see something about the money as well. So anyway, that's moving along.
David, is it anticipated that the Union Station project will be entirely done by the $10 million we're talking about, or is there anticipation other funds from other sources?
I think you'll find that there's going to be an ask for other funds. They'll try to raise some funds. I don't think the $10 million is going to get it to where they want it. I think it's going to make a good dent in bringing it up code-wise and moving some of the things out that have been built in there, but yeah, I think there's opportunity for more money.
Well, I'm sure there's opportunity. I just didn't know whether there was actively plans to come up with some money from other sources.
I don't know that answer.
Other questions for David? All right then. That brings us to item 18 on the agenda. Any comments by board members? Bob?
Just a couple of related questions about the streetcar. We're, 2.5 months into its operation. How's the ridership, and do we have any sense of public reaction to the pricing structure that we have for the streetcar?
I don't have any direct knowledge of that. I don't think there's been any outcry. I haven't seen anything reported on social media. Of course, it's been half-price fares right now. Nathaniel might be able to speak to this more than me, but I think things are going really well. They had, over 100,000 people ride it that first month.
Nathaniel?
I think I don't actually know the ridership numbers exactly myself, but from what I can see and what I've heard, it's been very positive. And as far as on the fare pricing, certainly there's people that want it for free, because who doesn't want free stuff? But I think generally people understand that these things, you expect to pay, and the rate that we have is pretty reasonable, certainly compared to other systems. But I do want to make sure I put a plug in that today is the last day to get a half-off fare. So I got my annual pass. I got my wife's annual pass. So buy your annual pass now. You'll be set for until March of next year. So the last day for half off.
Great. Anyone else?
I just want to say, I believe, I'm not sure, but I'm kind of positive today may be my last meeting, as I believe I'm rolling off, and we're getting a new
I didn't realize
council
that.
member. I think so. If not, you'll see me next month. But do want to say thank you for the hospitality and helping me to understand a lot more about what the advisory board does. And do want to say, though, on Tuesday at our council meeting, we had citizens to be heard, and we had quite a few seniors that came in, and they have a petition of over 300 signatures on the location of the proposed location of the Wellness Center 3. And they are opposed to that location. So I'm hoping that our subcommittee will continue to listen to those members of the community and those seniors who actually want to use it, and hopefully we'll find some common ground. And they also gave some suggestions of different locations that they would possibly like to see it for them to be able to use it as well.
Well, thank you. Our experience is that the subcommittees have been very good at listening to what the citizens have to say, and I feel confident in saying they'll get a fair hearing and at the subcommittee level. So I think that'll be good. And I want to say thank you for being so nice about coming to our meetings after you were newly a member of the council. You've been really great, a great addition to the advisory board, and we really appreciate what you've done. Thank you.
See you next month if that's wrong.
All right. All right. Staff?
No, sir.
David? All right. Are there citizens here that would like to be heard today? If not, item 19 is adjournment. Bob has moved that we adjourn, seconded by Nathaniel. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.